Hey guys, Sean Bougie here, SurplusFundsRiches.net. I'm going to open this up. What I need you guys to do, the chat is open for now. If you can go ahead and let me know you can hear and see me okay, I'd very much appreciate it. And then I can take it from there. That's one of my dachshunds in the background. Let's see what we got here. Oh, here we go. Ahmad. Yes, hear and see you. Oh, is this webinar about tax overages? Coney, yes. Both tax overages and flipping. So basically teaching how to get it ahead of the schedule. In other words, ahead of the game prior to the foreclosure, the tax deed sale happening. And also, thanks, Mark. Good doggy, he says. Also deal with any kind of overage on the back end. Guys, I'm going to stop chat for just a moment. Hey, Eldon, and I'll respond to all this. But first, there's a couple of announcements we got to put out there. Hey, Tony, I remember seeing your name, Tony Garcia. Let's take a look here. All right, chat is off. Now, guys, you should see where we are sharing a file right now. I'd really appreciate it if you take a second, download that. It should be, you might have to minimize the chat screen area, but download that. That talks about the time flipping program we're doing April the 16th that we're launching. And it also goes into, of course, our Insider's Guide, which is a breakdown of all of our programs. So a couple things. First off, and this is for both overage and deed flip guys out there. If you remember, a lot of people were saying that the market was going to crash and burn. We were entering a bubble with real estate, and there's no way it was sustainable. When my projections came out a little bit different, I said, no, not a bubble. Not going to be an issue. Rates are still extremely low. It's basically free money, even with the rates increasing. And of course, the bottom line is we have crazy demand and no inventory. We also have a demographic group of people coming up that know nothing about fear with real estate, and they're starting their own families. They're in late 20s, turning the 30s. These guys are educated. They have no fear, and this is our buyer on that end. Also, the other issue you're seeing is it's kind of self-sustaining this way. So the upper end homes, the folks who typically at this point with the age group, the demographic group, would be moving down. They're not, because they can't find anything to move to. So they're sticking around where they are. That means people trying to move up aren't finding anything as well. It's kind of eating itself right now. Inflation, I never could have anticipated the level of inflation that we have right now. That is going to continue to drive it. If you guys remember, my projection was instead of 15% appreciation like last year, we were going to see closer to 7%, and that was going to stabilize. Looks like we're seeing 15% again this year, year over year. Another issue to remember, again, besides the fact that rates are historically very low, first of all, the banks aren't giving away money like they did in 07, 08. They're not getting people giving people loans that have a 580 credit score anymore. It's a lot more difficult to get a loan. So we're not going to have the issue with the massive defaults. They used to be checking people out, or rather getting them approved based on a teaser rate that was anywhere from 1.5 to 2 points lower than what it was going to be. It was a 3 to 5 year ARM. We saw a lot of that. We're not seeing that anymore. So having said all that, we have seen surplus funds, the average surplus funds retrieval, go from $25,000 to well over 40, approaching 50 at this point, because people are paying so much at auction for the property. That's important to understand. What also is going on right now, I'll give you an idea. I had a friend attend the Horry County, which is in South Carolina, Horry, attend their tax deed sale recently. And let me tell you describe to me how that went. 50 people in attendance, bunch of newbies thinking they're going to get a really good deal. Bid opens at about $5,000. Somebody bids 5, somebody bids 7. 2 seconds later, there's 2 guys sitting to the side. They're both from hedge funds. Nobody knows this at this point. Guy bids 200, guy bids 250, the auction is over. That is happening everywhere. Now you add to that the fact that we've got rents at a historic high. And even though, yes, we have more people employed, yes, we're paying the heck of a lot more than we used to, wages are not keeping up. They're not keeping up with inflation. It's going way too fast. As a result, people are staying where they are whenever they can, but it's an incredible opportunity, both in the surplus funds market and in the deed flipping market. Getting property people really don't want super cheap and flipping into an investor and doubling your money. Having said that, last year, and I'm almost done with the intro. Last year around September, if you remember, we were going to launch a program that traded time instead of money for people. We are going to do that. We didn't do it last year, and guys, I'm extremely transparent on why we don't do things or why we do things. The reason we didn't is we were concerned at the time it was going to eat into our turn-ins for the deed flip program. And we had really good turn-ins for that and for the surplus funds, but we were kind of concerned it was going to eat into that because it's ridiculously simple to use. It takes no money down. It's not it's not one of these weird assignable contract or even a subject to contract. It's nothing like that. It's going after property pre-tax sale, primarily pre-tax sale, and basically trading, instead of trading money with the owner, trading time. I'm going to teach you how to do it with no money down. I'm going to teach you how to either hold it for a while with that owner, hold it indefinitely if you want, and then turn around and rent to somebody that's going to be able to rent, or cash out before the ex-owner's even out. You get the deed. This has never been done before. No one's doing this. So let me go over what you're going to see in your time flipping. I'm going to actually read through some of this. You're going to be buying, by the way, it's April the 16th at 10 a.m. and there's on your download, and I'll be doing a full video on that because I want to get into questions and answers. Hold on, guys, hold tight. I'm going to get into plenty of question and answers on surplus funds and flipping, but I need to cover this really quickly. Saturday, April the 16th at 10 o'clock in the morning, it'll go on a one-day sale. It'll be $297. Here's the big kicker. Including with this program will be a bonus one-on-one mentorship. Guys, we usually charge $750 for that. And we talk people out of it because our support's so good, our email-based support. But you're going to have one-on-one with Jeff and I when you put your first deal together. We'll walk you through your first deal so you can be successful. Anything you want to cover on that, we'll do it. You buy real estate for no money down, trading basically time for the equity for the property. No one else is doing it. It allows you to buy it in super hot markets by meeting the owner's real need, which is time, guys. It's time. If you buy them out, that's one thing. They really need time to get their affairs in order, get their feet under them again. And what this is going to do, they don't have to go out and rent something. They're going to burn through 20 grand in the first year in rent. This is a way for them to get their stuff in order. And I'm telling you, the response rate has been insane. The conversion rate's been insane. We beta tested this already. No one's doing it. You own the property outright. You get the deed, not an assignment, not a subject to contract. You cash out quickly, or you can bet on the appreciation and hold it, or even hold it indefinitely after the owner gets out. It's a zero down, out of pocket, no money. You can leverage our knowledge and experience with the live mentorship. There's more in this. I'm going to let this go for now because I really want to get into questions. But again, guys, we've got a really good network of folks who purchased our surplus or deed flip programs. We're very happy with the projections we have. Those of you guys that saw the free training information I put together, you saw that if we continue doing what we've been doing, which is we recently, this past week, teed up $1 million in surplus funds recovery and a little bit over $500,000 in deed flips. So the commissions on that are going to be $7.75 million to our guys. That's how much is going on right now. We're very comfortable. We're very confident in the people we're working with. So we're probably going to pull off the surplus funds and deed flip systems for a while and really just concentrate on our core members. If we do that, it'll probably be the beginning of April, if not a little bit sooner. That's why on our products page, we also always have hey, we have the right to pull this down at midnight. We have that every day. That clock goes down. That's so that we have the right to do that. And that's another reason why we launched the Give Back program, the Surplus 50 program. Beginning of the year, it was a one-day sale. You guys saw that we weren't kidding. It was. And this program is going to be a one-day sale because it's a give back. We're sending the elevator back down with this program. We're just really confident with the members and the network we have. We've created a community now and been very successful with it. So that's why we're launching it now. That's it. That's all my spiel. Let's get into questions and answers. So I'm going to turn the chat back on. And Tony, Alden, Beverly, Ozhas, Susan, Denny, Mark, Robert, David, Ralston, Brian, Veronica, Susan, Ahmed, David, Tyresha, Koneed, Amani, and Teddy, thank you so much for checking in with us at the beginning. Let's fire up chat and see what we got. All right, guys. Any questions you've got on surplus funds? I'm going to try to avoid going into the new program too much, just because I think if you download that file, you're going to get a lot of information from that. And we're going to be going into this really in depth as we go over the next week or two. So for now, let's concentrate on any and all new questions. And Mike from, I guess, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Fantastic. Welcome aboard. There's usually about a 1 to 2 year delay from when I open it up and you guys actually hear that I opened it up. But any and all questions, guys, we appreciate it. The beauty of this type of a community is that you've got the opportunity to hear questions from other people. That's a big deal, right? You've got the ability to hear questions from other people that you wouldn't have thought of yourself. So fire away. And I tell you, last time we did this, the last webinar, the response was unbelievable. Any questions that you've got, more than happy to help you with that. Okay, Michael, what is my total investment? It's a good question. So if you go, if you download the Insider's Guide, you'll be able to read about all of our different programs. That should have, I believe, a link. It's SurplusFundsRiches.net. You can click on products and check it out. But it depends on where you want to go, Mike. Either DFlip, the initial DFlip program, which teaches you how to do it on your own, or you can send deals from to us of people going into foreclosure, and we give you 15% of net. That's National DFlip. That's $497. The Surplus program is National Surplus Funds. There's two of them. National Surplus Funds, you just get a list, not hard. Research the debt and ownership on that list. Turn it in on our title worksheet. We do the rest. We find the people, put the deal together, hire the mobile notary, and we always use an attorney, and we give the owner 10% of the gross upfront as good faith money to really get them on the hook. So as you can imagine, very competitive. That is $497, the National Surplus. There's a different iteration of that. It's called the Premier 16. That pays you 16% of gross instead of 8%. Gross being meaning the gross amount being held by the court. However, it requires you find the people and have a warm conversation as well. What most people do is they like doing both surplus and deed flips because it's a lot of the same skill set. Okay. And they also like working Florida because Florida actually publishes the title work for you, and Florida is a separate program. So the two hottest deals we've got are the Gold Bundle. That's 7 programs in it. National Surplus, National Deed Flip, Premier 16, Deed Flip 30, North Carolina, and the 2 Florida programs. 7 programs. That's $997. That's unbelievable. The other one is Best of the Best, and that's, I believe, 6 and some change. That is an unbelievable bundle as well. However, you can get in on the $497 and just work one program at a time, come back later and purchase anything else you want. It's just, we set up the bundles, guys, just because we wanted to reward people for basically believing in us and be able to get multiple programs in one shot. Excuse me. Ralston. Is it okay to send in a prospect who is on the working list, but with a different ID number, Ralston? I'm going to have Jeff as the moderator for this. I'm going to have him double check that with you, or respond, I should say. So I'm going to go on to the next one right now. Teresha, being a complete beginner to all this, maybe I should just do this. That's a great question. Being a complete beginner to all of this, but wanting to make the best profit, what bundle do you feel is best to start with? Again, I would start with the gold if you can afford it. It's $9.97. If not, definitely the best of the best bundle. That's just a phenomenal way to go. And I think the deal is unreal. Good question, Tyresha. This is what I need. Good questions from you guys. Will our credit score matter, Brian? Absolutely not. I'm not telling you to get more. I'm assuming you guys are asking me about the time flipping program. No, it will not. And I'll get into more of that in the weeks or two coming. Let's see. Is the surplus funds and overage the same? Yes. Surplus funds, Conid, great question. Surplus funds. The main difference with us is we work both mortgage and tax, surplus funds or overages, okay? But surplus funds, overages, these are different names for the same thing. Excess proceeds, overbids, excess funds. There's a number of different names. They're all the same thing. However, we work both mortgage and tax overages or surplus funds or excess proceeds. I downloaded the current list for the surplus funds. Are most of those at 50-50 split, or most of those from people just researching the debt and ownership and turning it in for the 8? Current working list. I think what you downloaded, Ahmed, was the purge list, which you can work, period. But if it's the active list, you don't work that. That's the reason, guys. One of the things a lot of people don't understand is we're working with quite a few people, right? So one of the things that we built into the system that you have access to is our active files list. So you can actually see what we have. So if you go get a list somewhere, you can take the names off that list, search our list by those names and make sure we don't already have them. We don't have a saturation issue. But this way we're completely transparent and you don't research anything we already have. It saves everybody a lot of time. Tim Puller, Watertown, Wisconsin. Fantastic. Can I be utilized as a mobile notary as well as work the program? Amani. Sure, send me your information. If we happen to have something in your area come up, I'd be happy to consider you as a mobile notary. I'm obviously a businessman. We're going to do this for whatever is the going rate for that particular area. I can tell you right now that we're actually putting a deal together where the gentleman moved out of Florida into Peru. You have to wire the funds first to the notaries down there. So, of course, they are registered, thank goodness. But it's an international wire I have to do, which is not cheap. And then because of the way their rules work down there, we have to send the contracts to him to print, and he has to have it for the mobile notary. They won't print it. It's a bizarre system down there. Are you finding that most of the phone numbers are non-working, Phoenix? It depends, Phoenix. So most of the numbers are usually good, especially on deed flips because the people haven't been foreclosed on yet. Frankly, most of the phone numbers these days, we've been getting a higher and higher conversion right hit flip, or if you will. And the reason is everybody's just using cell phones and they're keeping them regardless. So no, I'm not finding that at all. What I do tell people if they're doing it on their own is one of the things you can do, because this is something we do for you guys if you're a researcher, is we'll hit IDI and then we'll turn around and hit them with microbuilt, because that does a great job at possible relatives and associates. We'll actually call relatives and associates as well. What about people who already own the National Surplus and other program and just want to purchase an add-on? Garrett, add-ons are at time of sale. It's kind of like buy one, get one 70% off. You can't go back 2 weeks later and go, hey, listen, I didn't take advantage of that deal. Can I now get that? No, we don't do that. So, however, well, first of all, National Surplus, National Deed Flip, Premier 16, all right, and also Deed Flip 30. None of those programs will ever come down in price by themselves. However, even if you go to the resources page on any book you got, you'll be able to see there's usually a link for past buyer loyalty discounts. You can click on that. Those programs don't come down in price. The other add-ons are usually available for slightly less than we initially offered them for, usually between $297 and $397. And you're welcome to pick that up on the past buyer loyalty discount page. But as far as coming back and then paying an add-on price, nope, can't do that. Thank you, Tricia. Sean, in the time flipping program, is there any down payment that has to be made by us to take control of the property? So no, Sean, what I'm teaching you guys, and again, I'm going to try to avoid going too deep into that because we've gotten a lot of questions, great questions on surplus funds and deed flips. But what I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do is to line folks up and ready to buy that thing prior to even purchasing it. handling that purchase. It's just too easy to do these days. Handling that purchase and then picking it up later from you as well. So there's zero money out of pocket for you, none, and you don't have to be able to get a loan. It's from Florida. Okay. Surplus funds program. What's the average ratio of files turned into successful payout? David, it depends on the state and it depends on a number of factors. How old is the list? Okay. Is it just is it a husband and wife both? That way we've got an easier time of finding one or the other, or at least two people on a deed. I mean, there's a million things, and I'm not trying to avoid it. It's just, I really don't like quoting percentages because then you're going to work in an area where, for instance, New York, where they've got a net loss of people in there coming down to the South pretty much to chase jobs and to get away from taxes. And they're a little more difficult to find. The Southeast tends to be a little easier to find. I'm not going to answer that directly just because, like I said, there's way too many variables. I'm sorry. Some of you guys saw, I mean, occasionally we get really crazy good conversion. We've had people turn in just a couple and we put a couple under contract. We've had people turn in quite a few and it hasn't been as high of a success rate. Ahmed, sorry, Florida. Chris, I'm unsure if this is a program you partner on or if this is DIY. Please comment. Also, I want to confirm it's $297. Yeah, the time flipping program, Chris, is $297. That program, let's see, it is DIY, but it's not. Okay. What I mean by that is your first deal, you get somebody on the hook, we're going to walk you through it. Okay. And we're going to make sure that you're okay. And we're going to make sure that you get the funding for it and all that. You're going to be good. Coney, can you just do the tax overage by itself? And if so, what is the cost? Oh yeah, National Surplus Funds, Coney, $497. That's the intro price. It's about a third of what everybody else. There's a couple of competitors out there that sell the programs, similar, but we do upfront buyouts with claimants, and we always use attorneys. That way, we're not stuck on just a 5% or $2,500 cap. We don't get capped at all in any of the states. The only states we don't like working with researchers at all is Washington, Oregon, and Colorado. Florida is a separate program because the laws are so different there. But yeah, it's $497 for that. National Surplus is the one I'd say. Amani says, wow, thanks, Sean. You got it. Chris, the new time program, time flipping. Yes. Let's see what the heck he's commenting from. I'm sorry, guys. I have to kind of go through this a little bit. Oh, I don't see the previous one. Tony, still having trouble with logging in. What would be the best email to contact you, Tony? Do you have your program or have you lost it? I get this a lot. People go, hey, I can't log in. But what they really mean is, I don't know what the heck happened to my initial content. So if you don't have it, I'll resend it to you. I think I saw your message earlier. It's just been a really busy day and I'll get to it. If you send me an email, I'd be happy to set you up with that. I mean, you can't log in without the password and the link in your ebook. So if you don't have the ebook, I need to rectify that. Robert, when researching surplus funds and former deed holders, what is the best way to determine whether the deed holders are alive or deceased? Awesome question. I'm going to go ahead and put this public. When researching surplus funds and former deed owners, you guys see this? What is the best way to determine whether the deed holders are alive or deceased? A lot of people ask that question. One of the things I said in one of the more recent programs I put together is, guys, just do this. Okay, just Google their name, city where the property was, and the state, followed by obituary or obit. You're going to see it's going to pop up frequently. Another thing you can do if you're already at that point and you can see that they're on the deed is just make sure that there isn't a different mailing address listed as a contact address on that deed. If there was, plug in their name, the city and state that's on that contact information, and obit, because sometimes they will move back or sometimes they purchase the property as an investment. So that's your best ways of checking that out. It's really easy to do. Of course, if you have good skip tracing software like IDI or Microbilt, remember microbilt.com, MICROBILT, go there. There's a phone number you can call them and ask for Randy Mostetler. They will waive the startup fee, which is $200. If you mention my name, Sean Bougie, or Greater Good Company, which is our buyout company. So that's a great way to go. It's a good one to use. Can I grab the time flip through my Diamond Bundle free voucher? Friends, you can, but I think you can. I'll talk to Jeff about that. Chris, oh, sorry, let me get rid of this one here. Should we wait for redemption time to pass if there is an open surplus on the property, or is it okay to reach out to the people that are due the surplus? What is the best way to tackle this? So, Chris, the only state, let me go ahead and put this. This is a great comment. So the only state that we really have a huge issue with is California, okay? Because California, we have to wait the 1 year redemption period from after the tax sale happened in California. You can make a claim anytime during that year, but the county will not look at any claims until the 1 year period is up, and then they will make a decision on who they're going to grant the claim to. That's the only place we've had real issues with. Oh, there you go. Jeff actually put the number up. Yeah, sign up as a judgment recovery company. Because that's part of what you're doing. You're checking judgments anyway. Fantastic. Tony, yeah, that's fine. I don't think I have the ebook. Thanks, Sean. Hey, no problem, Tony. Of course, I'm going to check and make sure you bought, right? But I'll send that as soon as I see that. I appreciate you checking with us here. Koneed, how soon can a person start making money once they pay for the training and begin? All right, so here's the deal, okay? It comes down to whether or not we get lucky or not. Usually within the first month, we're going to have some kind of contact. I did recently, I'm not exaggerating, but this is a fluke. We had one turned in, and that day, guys, when we get it into us, it's immediately entered into ACT. We use IDI data out of the chute, and my case managers, in which we doubled the number of case managers recently, my case managers mail and contact them immediately, got in touch with them, put them under contract. That's rare. It usually takes a month of calls and mailing for us to get in touch with them and then to return the call, and we set up a mobile notary and get the documents back. At that point, goes straight to the attorney. We have an attorney liaison. That's all she does. She's associated with our central attorney. She takes that, okay? She takes that, gets it to that attorney, and he gets on the docket, usually within a month's time. Once the docket has cleared, 1 month later, we get a check. In other words, once they grant the motion on the docket, we get a check. Now, it doesn't go any quicker in areas that don't require a motion, just so you know. So the average time is 3, sometimes 4 months. Now, last year, all the way through January of this year, we were major league backed up. Not us, the courts. It was difficult to get on the docket, so it's taken much longer to get the funds out of the court. Okay. Jeff says, yes, you can, in fact, use the Diamond Bundle free voucher for the new time flipping program. Awesome. Koneed asked, Amani, I think I already have the ebook. Amani, if you bought it, send me an email. You can go to contact us on SurplusFundsRiches.net. Send me an email if you can't find your ebook. Let me know when you bought, the name you used. I'll double check that it was a purchase that we can track, or you can send me the receipt, right? I'll double check it's a purchase we can track. And as soon as I see that it's on there, I'll send you the ebooks you bought, if you can't find them. Does North Carolina have tax overages? Yes. Guys, let me give you a little more detail on who does and doesn't have overages, okay? Just won't take but a minute. So yes, North Carolina has overage, tax and mortgage overages. South Carolina, same thing. Most states have tax and mortgage overages. However, it's difficult to get a mortgage overage list from California and from Texas. And the reason for that is those states, and I can't believe I'm saying California and Texas in the same sentence and saying they're alike, but those states actually let the foreclosing attorney on a mortgage overage, on a mortgage foreclosure rather, the foreclosing attorney is allowed to handle and disperse the surplus funds. So they don't give lists out. You can't get a list of mortgage overages in California and Texas. Very easy to get tax overage lists in California and Texas. A couple other things to consider too. Michigan, you couldn't get tax overage lists because they kept it. They said it was for community redevelopment and they were going to keep it. There's one or two other states like that. Michigan was recently challenged in court, state Supreme Court, and lost. So now, probably in the next year or two, right now they're writing the statutes, writing the laws. You're going to start seeing tax overages in Michigan. Washington State, Oregon, and Colorado are very difficult to work. They're on kind of a witch hunt out there. It doesn't matter how you do it. They're trying to put people out of business left and right. I will give you an example. One of the reasons I don't work Colorado is they had a problem with my postcard because it said court held funds. Well, it was true. You still had to go to the court to get the funds released, even though it was being held by a separate department. They had a problem with that. That's how crazy Colorado is. So we don't work that. Washington, D.C. is very dirty. Illinois, we've had a lot of success with, but Cook County will not let you, they're just not going to give you a list, and it's extremely difficult to kind of backward engineer that, okay? I'm trying to think. Florida is a lot different. That's why it's a separate program for us, and it's available only in bundles. Obviously, it's one state, so we put it only in bundles simply because, well, first of all, it's a coloring book. It's a lot easier to work than other states because they actually, in tax overages, they publish the title work for you, which is unbelievable. But the access is really good in Florida, and they have some other unique rules that make it great to work. Franz, for the record, I'd like to grab the time flip with my free voucher as soon as it's available. It'll be April 16th, Franz. I have properties in Pennsylvania dropping monthly through potential sheriff sales. Okay, that could be what you're after. Absolutely, Franz. It'll be April. We never launch stuff earlier to launch date. I'm sorry. Ahmed. And by the way, Franz, very important you do this. So sign up. There's a link, I believe. Download that file. The file download that you've got in front of you. Download that. There's a link where you can sign up for that. That's going to be how you go. And you want to submit your, because you bought that bundle, you want to submit your voucher for the free program at that point. Okay. Well, you don't have to go through that for it, but you've got to submit it the day of the sale. Very important you understand that. We're very tough on this kind of stuff. Ahmed, Sean, with Florida, since it's so, you're saying competitive, which strategy would you recommend? Try to hunt down former owner and get them on board, or get the list, research the debt, and turn it into you at 8% and let you take it from there? So, Ahmed, we don't offer the Premier 16 program in Florida. It's 10% in Florida on the Florida program, okay? It's just different. We pay more in there. We've got our best attorney ever down there, and it works great. It's really, the only places it's extremely competitive, Ahmed, is as you get south of Tampa, it gets a little more competitive. I've told this before. If you have our Florida program, guys, it's really easy to get mortgage and tax overage lists. One of the things you can do, though, is actually go after, I believe there's 67 counties in Florida. Go after counties that don't have online. We give you the script. You can email or call whoever actually held the sale. Would give you the script to contact them. Florida's happy to give you a mortgage and tax overage list. If you don't have it online, nobody's working it because they're used to finding it online. Contact the court. They'll give it to you. You can email or call them. It's very easy to do. That would help you as well. Going after mortgage overages are less competitive as well because they don't publish the title work. So you've got to do a little more work there. The same work you have to do in any other state. Good question. Conid, after completing the tax overage training, do I work for you or can I do it for myself? So Conid, the National Surplus Funds Program teaches you how to do it completely on your own, or you can be an independent contractor. And I've had this before. People have said, hey, you can ask Jeff, this is crazy. People have said, hey, when do I get my W-9 or, W, whatever it is, when you're an employee. You're not an employee. You're an independent contractor, for goodness sake. We had one lady say, hey, I'm going to have to need you to verify my employment because I want to take out a loan. No, that's not how that works. Sean, what are your thoughts? I'm going to put this one up here too. What are your thoughts on investors cold calling anyone with homes to see if they will sell their homes? Are they competing with the market you are introducing now? Chris, I don't. If you want to bring up a competitor, it's interesting you brought that up. If you want to bring in Sean, who's competing with you on time, the only person I can see, and you guys are welcome to look this up, the only organization, I should say, that I can see that's competitive at all with this is Easy Knock. Okay. And what Easy Knock does is it literally says, cool, we're going to buy the house from you, but we're going to give you plenty of time to get out. They lock them down. And it's a very smart play for a large company like that, simply because they're betting on appreciation, and they've been right. Easy Knock gives them a max of 5 months. The other thing is Easy Knock is not going to take junk. I love taking junk. Give me junk all day long. I love the trash properties because I can get them super cheap. I can double my money to an investor and sell it cash in 2 weeks. In and out, done. They can put whatever they need, 30, 40 into it and make 20, 30. I've made usually 30. Everybody's winning on that. The owner made a little bit of money too. You just can't lose with that. Franz, I signed up before I jumped on the webcam. Okay. I understand that. You still got to submit it the day of the sale. So Jeff says, just so I want to broadcast this as well. To be able to submit Florida files, obviously you must have the Florida remote program, guys. You can't do it off National or Premier 16. It's a completely separate area. And let me put this up because Jeff just went ahead, even though it's in the download the file, guys. You should be able to download the file. But let me broadcast this comment. You've got the link right there for the time flip program. You could sign up so we notify you on any issues we've got, notify you on any issues, meaning if it's going to be a shorter time period. We're going to look at the signups and see how many people sign up because we're going to limit how many of these we sell. So we'll give you a heads up if we think it's going to be gone fast. Anyway, I would definitely sign up there. But download the file here that you've got available to you. I'm doing Florida as part of the 50/50 program. Is that okay? It is, Ralston. Sorry, let's be clear with that. I believe. And Jeff said the same thing. So yay, gave the right answer. Is the tax overage or mortgage overage more lucracious? Conid. Lucrative, I think is what you're looking for there. Tax overage or mortgage overage. So here's the deal. What I've found, and Jeff can certainly, he sees it coming in more than I do, but we're seeing stupid numbers coming in, guys. I've never seen so many 60, 70, 80, 100, $200,000 overages coming in. And it's because of the market. I've never seen it this strong. And we were around around the bubble time, right? So I've never seen it like this. Tax or mortgage more lucrative? Well, I think more people are working tax. Okay. However, a lot of them are not working it correctly. They're not researching the debt that was against the property at the time of the sale. So as a result, they're chasing stuff that isn't going to pay out, because if there was debt against the property or person at the time of the sale that wasn't satisfied, that debt has a priority claim to the overage. I know nobody's telling you this online, but that's the truth. Mortgage overages, less people are working them. It's a little more difficult to get a mortgage overage list in some instances, but once you do, you have less competition. You do have to research debt just like you do on tax. As far as more lucrative or less, I do think we get a higher spread, meaning a higher surplus amount in the tax arena. But Jeff can certainly straighten me out on that if I'm wrong. Guys, nobody else is working mortgage, so working both. Rick, will there be a replay? Absolutely. You should get notified within about an hour after this is over. I'd say about 9:30. You'll get notified about that. Chris, are you taking on investors? If so, how much are you paying currently? So, Chris, we're taking on investors for two different things. And we've changed the way we did that. We're taking on investors for both deed flips, okay, where we actually give you a mortgage. You can record, collateralize the property on those. We're also doing those for, and right now we're fine, but we're probably going to need a draw in about a month or two. We're also doing it for advancing the surplus funds folks. Either case, we give 15% of whatever you paid in. The minimum, I think I'm going to up these, coming up here. Minimum is probably going to be 30 grand to invest. Everything goes through our attorney. So you've got that as well. If it's on a deed flip, you're collateralized against the property. You actually have a recorded mortgage in place. If it's surplus funds, we also give you all the contact information on all the attorneys that we're using for that. So you know exactly what you're against. It's 15% and it pays out in 4 months. So it's a really good return, especially right now seeing the stock market, right? But yeah, we've got quite a few people already lined up, but because of the crazy numbers I'm seeing come through, and like I said, we teed up about $1 million in surplus and $500,000 in deed flips in a single week. If we can sustain that, I think we can, because we doubled our staff size, and because you guys, thank you. The turn-ins have been amazing and continue to be amazing, and I think that's going to continue. Because of all that, yeah, I'll probably need some more investment money down the road. I've got this, guys. Looks like we're in the home stretch. Let's get some more. Chris, what is the max investment for investors? Good question. So the most I've ever taken in the past was around 90 grand. I basically show you what I've got. So for instance, on the surplus funds, I usually just take, let's say, we're going to net out somewhere in after attorneys and researchers. Let's say we're going to net out in the 30% range, something like that. I may take 15. That way, 15% of the total overage amount. By the way, it's already been vetted by the attorney, double checking the title work and all that. But I give you a list. I mean, when I say it's literally, okay, I'll take $89,743. And you know what my spreads are on it. Deed flips, I tend to get real conservative because I just don't want to get over, I don't want to get happy about that, but we're very careful with that. And I provide, of course, pictures and title work and all that. Surplus funds, it's a little easier simply because you are so spread out where you're only basically taking care of the initial payment and a little extra, that you're so spread out as far as leveraged that it's not an issue. But I list everything you're collateralized against them because it goes through an attorney, our local attorney. I can't re-collateralize. In other words, I can't do that for, give that same deal to 5 people. And because I had somebody ask that and I hadn't even thought of it. That's not the way I think. But we do it through an attorney because we want you to know that we're not collateralizing the deals through anybody else. And we don't need it all the time. G, any chance of a webinar on title searching? So G, if you've purchased, I would hit both videos, depending on which program you got. There's 2. There's one that's a hard title and one that's a regular title. It's really not difficult. I'll tell you what, I need to know, did you buy the program? Because if you didn't, it's going to be very difficult for me to run a webinar on just title search. It is a live webinar. It's just going to be really difficult to do that. I mean, yes, I can show you guys my screen. I can do that type of thing. But then it's very disorienting doing that. So let me know if you bought or not. Chris, I appreciate it too. Chris, I thought we talked and I thought I got you also my perspectives on how to handle the investment side. And Rick, again, I think I want to make sure I cover this. Yes, there's going to be a replay. But title on webinar and title search. Because if you bought the program, you've got access to those videos. Keep in mind, guys, okay, you bought. Okay, so keep in mind, all right, that first of all, read the ebook. It's step by step, and depending on which program you got, there's even extensive screenshots in there on how to do it. On top of that, then you've got the link to the videos, okay? If you have questions at that point, first of all, follow along, okay? Follow along with that and actually do what the ebook did on the example. That's the easiest way to do it. Same thing with the videos on title work. Then if you have questions, but you got to make the effort to do that. I'm not saying you're not making any effort, but you got to make the effort to actually apply that. It's really not as hard as you think. it's usually a light bulb moment where you go, oh my God, this is so much easier than I thought. I'm just looking at what was the debt from when they owned it, when they lost it. What debt did they incur? Was it satisfied or not? Okay, if it's not, then that's how much is it? Okay, that's in the way of the surplus. Okay, if there's 100,000 in surplus and there's a $30,000 equity line, we can still go after 70 grand in surplus. I mean, it's really, it's a lot easier than you think. A lot of people make it a lot more complicated. Are there fees for investors? Is it a straight 15% annualized? It's not annualized, Chris. It's 15%, and I'm going to pay you in 4 months. That's phenomenal. Definitely interested in investing, looking to deploy 6 figures. No problem. I mean, Chris, we're probably going to have an opening. What we find is there's a little bit of a delay when we see this kind of insane money coming through, deals coming through on our end on the pipeline. I would say that you need to get in touch with me within about a month and a half. That's probably when I'm going to be prime for you to set stuff up on that. And I'm sorry if I misunderstand your annualized. Basically, it's 15% over the 4-month period, straight up return. And if it's on a deed flip, it'll literally say, like, for instance, let's say you gave me $30,000 in that particular deed flip, right? So we'd split it up among all of them, and I'll record the deed for you if you'd like, or you can record it. But it would say, let's say you gave me 40 on that, let's say 40 and a 15% return. It's going to say at payment payoff date, it wouldn't say 40, it would say 46,000. So it's like a balloon payment is the best way for me to make it or to say it so that people understand how that goes. Okay, we haven't talked yet. All right, Janice, is the surplus funds program on average about how many deals that we present to you are eventually accepted by a client? 1 in 4, 1 in 10. Janice, again, it's a great question. I really want to make sure everybody understands I'm not trying to avoid it. It's just, I've run into issues before, okay? Whenever I quote a percentage on that, first of all, if you're talking about working on your own, you're going to have a different percentage than I do, okay? I've got full-time case managers. This is all they do. They pound the snot out of it for 4 months, wait about 3 weeks, skip trace using everything we've got, go another 4 months, skip trace everything we've got, and go another 2 months. So when we're doing it, it's extremely efficient, multiple pieces. I'm not just sending mail out to the possible address of the owner. When a researcher sends me a file, I'm sending it out to their possible relatives and associates, addressed to the claimant, but to their possible relatives and associates. And that gets insane response rate. What also gets a crazy response rate, and this is the one thing everyone's afraid to do. So listen carefully, those of you guys that want to do this on your own or are currently doing it on your own. If you got the program, it talks about the takeaway close. The takeaway close is not mean. It's not John Wayne in it. It's not being upfront like brusque, right? It's just very nicely, very cordially, and very professionally saying, Mr. Johnson, I understand you have concerns. I think I gave you good information to defray those concerns. And the way we do it, we're going to give you 10% of the gross as faith money up front. And we're going to use an attorney. And I'd be happy to, once you sign the contracts, I'd be happy to allow you to talk to the attorney. I got no problem with that. Sounds like we're not going to come to terms. I'm going to send you a letter to that effect saying that we gave it a shot. You decided not to use us. I appreciate your time. I certainly hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye. Click. Whoa. You just took it away. I say this all the time. Zig Ziglar says it, guys, and he was right. Greatest salesperson of all time. The fear of loss outweighs the desire for gain. Okay? At a certain point, we pull that on people too. We do that with the voice messages we leave, and we do that with a mailing we send. Hey, you're not returning our calls. You're not getting back with us. We understand. There may be a number of reasons for this. At this point, we're going to see if there's someone else we can pursue to retrieve funds. We certainly we certainly hope you give us a call. But if not, have a great day. That's it. Phone rings off the hook. Every single time. And the reason, it's funny, because I must get 2 calls a week from people that go, Sean, I finally got the guts to use that. And oh my God, you're right. Give you guys another example. And I know I'm kind of going down a rabbit hole here, Janice, but straight percentages. It varies from county to county, state to state, all kinds of different variables. But I'm telling you, I get calls at least once or twice a week. Thank you so much for telling us about takeaway close. I've never seen anything work. And to give you an example, if you've ever bought a car, most people on here bought a car. You go in, you haggle a little bit, you see where you can go. These days you don't haggle, right? They tell you no, it's going to be $5,000 over list. And when you say no, I'm not going to do that, they say, great, have a nice day. Thank you for coming in. Change your mind, give us a call. And you turn around and go, I'll buy the car. The takeaway close is the strongest close on the planet. I just want to make a point of that because that's why our conversion is high. The other reason why our conversion is high, in my opinion, because I've talked to other people that do it, and I know that we're on average much better. The other reason is we give 10% of the gross to the owner, and we use attorneys. We're not fly by night. We're not saying, oh my God, we're going to do this on contingent. You may or may not be able, may or may not get anything because I haven't done my homework. We're not saying any of that. We're working with attorneys. We're giving the owner 10% good faith, non-refundable, 10% up front. They're signing a power of attorney to our attorney, so they're not going to go around us, right? They're not going to try to go around an attorney because they sign a power of attorney to the attorney and they sign her structured buyout agreement. Sean asked, last question on time flipping. Fair enough. Well, obviously you guys are excited about that. You should be. You can either, guys, just quickly, on time flip, you can either cash out early. I'm going to show you how to do that. No money down, right? You can either cash out early, no problem, or you can hold it and bet on appreciation and then sell it if you want, or keep it. Keep it and rent it to somebody that's going to pay the rent. I want to make a quick point before I answer your question, Sean. It's really important you guys understand that the timing on this has never been better, ever. This is not going to slow down. A lot of people out there, oh, it's a bubble, da-da-da. Nope. Demand is there. Inventory is not. Inflation is hitting in every single aspect. It costs more money to cut the lumber, process the lumber, get the oil, process the asphalt shingles, transport it, gas, right? Transport it. All of that is more expensive. It's not going down anytime soon. So Sean, last questions on time flipping. How much is the average commission? So that's actually an easy one to answer. I go after low-hanging fruit. The deed flips I've been working lately, I've been looking at an upside. I typically try to double my money. So if I have 40 in, I'm going to get 80 back. And look, I know you guys out there going, this guy's full of crap. No, because of what I go after and the way that I structure it for these people, I'm doing this all day. Now, I buy junk. I buy property you guys would go, oh my God, you're out of your mind. The reason I do is because there is no property available right now, and the flippers are willing to take on the tough stuff. I don't fix and flip. I just send it right to them. I leave plenty of meat on the bone for them to fix it up and still profit what they need to profit. So everybody wins on that. So the average commission, I would say, is probably going to reflect the average deed flip that I do, which is going to be anywhere from 30 to 50 grand. Now, if you want to sell it even faster, get it off the market, maybe 25 to 45. Okay. But that's what I think we're looking at here per deal. Or you can hold it. Oh, God, you can hold it and it'll be worth another 15 grand next year. It's ridiculous what's going to happen with that. That's a great question, Sean. Guys, on the time flipping program, if nothing else, reserve your spot. We're not charging you for that. It's not going to, just reserve that. You still don't have to buy at that point. You'd be silly not to, especially at the price. But download the file that you can download on this. Click on that link or click on the link that you can see right in front of you here from Jeff that was broadcast. So, Robert, in my research on mortgage surplus lists, some of the former deed holders are in their 70s. You're absolutely correct, Robert. Does this age group understand and respond to your messages regarding the mortgage surplus and that they are entitled? Yeah, Robert, we don't have, here's the deal. That's a great question. Really good question, right? Especially since you go to Florida, that's where people go to retire and live out the rest of their days. So you get a lot of deceased people down there. So would they respond? Absolutely, especially when I give them 10% up front. Now, the other thing is, if you run into an issue, Robert, if you're doing this on your own, I'll tell you what we do. If they're a little sketchy, they're a little worried, right? They're a little nervous. We'll offer to talk to them and their kids at the same time. We're full disclosure. Everything is up front. We don't BS anybody about anything. And by the way, the guys that tell you, oh, you don't tell them where the money is. Yeah, that's a recipe for them to hang up on you. We tell them what created it and where it is. And then we're going to use an attorney to get it out. We're going to give them 10% of the gross up front. Guess what they need? They just got foreclosed on. They need money. And because we're up front and they're doing a power of attorney to an attorney, we just don't have any issues. And because we're participating in the retrieval, we don't fall under the finder caps. So that's a big deal. So Robert, good question. No, we don't have an issue with older folks. If we occasionally somebody will get nervous, say, well, we'd be happy to bring your kid in on this. We'll talk to you. There's usually somebody that's in the finance side of that. Now keep in mind, and this is something we cover with our programs, if you're in an area where there's quite a few people, it's an older demographic, remember that as you're reading that deed, very important, here's your nugget for the evening, right? Very important, as you're reading that deed, if the deed reads their names, comma, husband and wife, or joint tenants with rights to survivorship, even if they're not married, joint tenants, rights to survivorship, or anything to the effect of rights to survivorship, or it's implied rights to survivorship, if it says married or a married couple, husband and wife, these days, husband and husband, whatever. If it says something like that, it's assumed to be a joint tenants, rights to survivorship. What that means, the death date is extremely important. If the other person on that deed died prior to the sale, their full interest in that property transferred at the time of the death. Don't have to have a probate, don't have to have an estate. Because that deed was written that way, all they got to do is show a death certificate and they can prove 100% of that ownership as long as they died prior to the foreclosure, the auction. As long as they died prior, it transferred all to the other person. And now that surviving spouse or surviving person, tenant, whatever you want to call it, that surviving person gets all of the overage, unless, of course, there was debt in front of it. But it's very important to understand that. So, Robert, areas that are older demographics, believe it or not, are very good to go after, because if one died, you're dealing with one person. Oh, look, I don't begrudge, good Lord, I'm not wishing somebody died. I'm just letting you know that because the deeds are written that way, they're doing a lot better job these days of putting that on their deeds. Married or husband and wife or joint tenants with rights to survivorship. Because it's like that, it's a lot easier for you to go after the funds for the surviving spouse. Guys, it looks like we're going to wrap up here pretty soon. Oh, and just a reminder, guys, I appreciate it. Turnout's been fantastic. Just a reminder, we just wanted to give you a heads up on that. We're very happy with the members we've got and with the kind of submissions we're getting from folks, and we don't foresee that going down. So we may be pulling the different bundles and programs, which the products themselves, the complete products page down, at least part of the month. So we're looking at April 1st as a possibility right now for at least 2-3 weeks. I'm just giving everybody a heads up. I'm not trying to create scarcity. I'm not doing the used car thing. We're very open and honest about what we do. You guys know if we promise we're going to do something, we do it. So I just want to give you a heads up that if you're on the fence, you may have to wait if you don't get it by the end of the month. Sooner the better. As far as the flipping program, we're sign up for that, but we're definitely going to be doing the time flip program. We're definitely going to be doing a webinar just for that. I'll also have a video. Guys, go to YouTube, look up SurplusFundsRiches, all one word. That's our YouTube channel, okay? Go on there and, for goodness sake, subscribe to the channel. SurplusFundsRiches, same as our website, SurplusFundsRiches.net. SurplusFundsRiches is our channel, our channel on YouTube. Go there and, for goodness sake, subscribe to the channel so that you get updates on stuff like that, because we do a lot of things where we just announce it there. It's 8:30. I'm going to wrap it up. Guys, the questions have been phenomenal. I appreciate your time this evening. If you have any questions, please go to SurplusFundsRiches.net, click on products and read. Go down to the bottom of the products page. It'll ask you to sign in. But go down to the bottom of the products page and read that insider's guide, okay? And then if you have questions, give me a call, 704. This is 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 704-791-9398. Thanks.